Hello everyone, and today we're going to add a little bit of dress-up detail underneath the hood of our Mustang. And we're going to do this by focusing specifically on the fuel caps. And as you can see, we have the OEM ones right there, but afterwards we're going to have these beautiful ones that paint match to our Kona blue. And as you can see, we also have the offset white to match the stripes. And we're also going to be doing this by using one of our new toys. We have a 3D printer, which is definitely going to make this project really easy to do. So let's get started. And for our very first step, let's measure out the fluid caps. And I'm going to take each one of these and a pair of calipers and just pretty much get the outer dimensions of the top side of it. Because I'm going to use these same caps, I'm just going to put a cover on top of them and then paint it to match. And as you can see, I'm trying to get these measurements as accurate as humanly possible because garbage in equals garbage out. And as an FYI, I did the brake fluid cap off camera. So now that we have our measurements, let's get CADing them up. Looks like it came out looking really good. I think that's going to come out pretty promising. Now also, while we were CADing those parts up, I did print out 5 test caps. They're nothing special. They pretty much mimic the brake fluid cap just a little bit by printing these out so I can do a chemical test. And this is going to be out of ASA Filament. The reason I chose ASA Filament is because it's a little bit better when it comes to chemical resistance and it has a higher temperature tolerance. So I have one test cap right here. It's all black with the white filament on top. Looks pretty nifty. It's not perfect, but this is pretty much just to see how the chemicals react to the part itself, because I want to know if it's going to eat it up or not. So I'm going to have 5 of these, but 4 of them is going to be tested, and 1 of them is going to be the control. And our first chemical is going to be brake fluid, .3. Next is going to be our oil, 5W30. Then our coolant, and then lastly, our washer fluid. So looking at our cap, doesn't look like it's damaged, so we'll throw it in our brake fluid. And there's our oil, coolant, and our washer fluid. Now you're going to see little holes and divots in the caps, but don't pay no mind. That's just printing defects and just because I put it on fast mode. And I'm going to dip these upside down and kind of force them to the bottom of the cup. And I'm changing out every single popsicle stick just so we don't have contamination. Alright, so it's number 3. Get the 4th one right now. Okay, that looks pretty good. And like I said earlier, I'll leave our 5th one aside.
24 hours later.
And after waiting a full 24 hours, let's see how they look. See if we can dig out our first test subject. This is going to be our brake fluid. Okay, not too bad. And then our oil. I'm trying to do this without making too much of a mess, so bear with me. And then of course our coolant. And lastly our washer fluid. So far, just at a glance, nothing looks like it's in too bad of a shape. So I changed cardboards and let's take a look. Alright, so the first one here is our brake fluid. Doesn't look bad. It's still wet. It has a little bit of discoloration right there. Just because I guess the way it sat in the brake fluid, but overall, I don't really see any damage. Nothing's eaten away. And again, the reason you see those little dimples or pits in the top, that's just from a 3D printer defect. And looking at our oil, definitely extra shiny. But same thing, I don't really see anything eaten away. No discoloration, nothing. Not even off the white area on the top. It doesn't look like there's any discoloration, just really, really shiny. So overall, I think that one's good to go. Let's take a look at our coolant. Coolant? No, almost looks like the same way it went in. It just looks clean. So, yeah, honestly, it looks like the coolant's good to go. And lastly, yeah, washer fluid, same thing. Looks like all it did was clean it. A slight discoloration right there, just because of the way it's soaked in, but again, I don't really see any damage. So overall, I think those look pretty good. Tell you what, let's go ahead and pick up the last one, which is our control, and do a comparison. So these four don't look much different than our control group. I think this ASA filament will definitely do the job as far as using it on our fluid cap covers. Let's go ahead and print them all out. And the printing job went very well, so now let's go ahead and break out all the supports. Take some needle nose pliers, twist and pull. For our next part, we need to prep these caps for paint, so let's start with 600 grit sandpaper and an eraser block. I'm going to start by sanding the very top of these caps, just the flat surface. Pretty much this gets rid of any print lines or any defects that might happen during the printing process. We're just going to lightly scuff it, nothing major. And then we'll grab our wire brush, and we're pretty much doing the same thing with it. But this one just gets in the nooks and crannies, so it makes it easier instead of trying to sand in between all those little areas. And I do apologize about the poor lighting. I didn't realize these white caps would really reflect off the lighting this much. So now we're ready to clean the surface, and we're going to be using some IPA or rubbing alcohol. And I have a nice little squirt bottle, so it makes it easier on me. And I'm going to douse these things on the inside and out. And the purpose for this, we're going to remove any dust or any oils that may have been left on it, as well as this is going to help adhesion for the primer. So now I grab my measuring cups, and this is going to be just to provide a little bit of standoff for these cap covers. When I paint them, I want to have something to kind of suspend it in the air. It makes it easy on me. Now this first one, the brake fluid one, made it really easy. All I can just do is press it right on there. And for our washer fluid, yep, looks like the same thing. It seems like these hole diameters just seem to match these cups. So those two are pretty simple. The coolant cap, on the other hand, we had to use the glue gun for this one. The cavity is a little bit bigger, but we just need it to stay in place. So I just put a little glue in the middle, and we're going to put that coolant cap cover right on there. And that should hold that one in place. Now for our oil cap, that's going to be a little different. I have a dowel rod that I'm going to use and just put it right in this hole, and we're going to spin it in the air using that method. Same thing, add a little bit of hot glue. We'll throw it right in there. And for those of you who may or may not notice, my oil cap cover is a little bit off-centered. It's like 7 degrees off. That's intentional because my custom engine cover is slightly tilted in that area, so I'm having it match. Alright, so we have a base that we glued it onto. This will help it from falling over when I'm painting it. And while the glue's drying, let's move it over to our sawhorses, because this is going to be the area we're going to be painting it at. And the primer we're going to be using is a filler primer, ideal for 3D printing. So we'll shake for 2 minutes, wipe the nozzle with a cloth, do a test spray, wipe it again, and we're going to apply 4 coats. For this first coat, it's going to be semi-light. We pretty much want to get coverage just so we have a nice little tacky surface. And we're going to wait 5 to 10 minutes in between coats. You want to base this on the weather, so if it's a little cool, probably wait the full 10 minutes. If it's on the hot side, you can go to 5 minutes. And with these standoffs, it makes it really easy to get the sides and underneath these parts. And I know 4 coats does seem excessive. However, when you do 3D printing, you typically want to do your best to hide the print lines or any defects that may happen. So this primer is ideal for this situation. And again, after waiting a little bit, wipe our nozzle, and we'll apply our second coat. Starting to look pretty good. Let it sit, and we'll do our third coat. And of course, we'll do our very last coat. And 4 hours later, the primer's dry, so let's grab a tack cloth. And obviously, I grabbed a brand new one out of the bag, and it is kind of sticky, so you kind of got to open it up. There we go. And let's wipe off all 4 caps. And the goal is to remove all dust and debris before you lay down your base coat. This will get rid of any hairs or any fine dust that's left on your caps, because when you prime, it kind of leaves a little dust on top. And that looks pretty good there. So now let's mix our base coat. Now I need probably about 5 ounces. It's a little overkill, but it should be enough. So I bought a can from my local automotive paint store, and this is the Kona Blue. And I'm going to put about 4 ounces in this cup. Or at least try to, without making too big of a mess. So there's about 4 ounces there. Now obviously I used a paper towel to just kind of clean up a little bit of my mess. Set that aside. And then I'll grab a reducer. Since it's going to paint gun, I'm going to reduce this just a little bit. And this reducer is more of a 4-to-1 ratio. So I'm doing 4 ounces of base coat, 1 ounce of reducer. And then we'll grab our stirring stick or our popsicle stick and we'll stir this up for about 2 minutes. You want to make sure it's nice, thoroughly mixed. So that looks like the right consistency. Now let's take our funnel and we'll dump our paint right into a disposable paint cup. And of course we'll take our paint gun and just slide that right on and give it a nice little twist. There we go, all locked in. So now let's get to painting. So I'll do a paint test on a little piece of cardboard and let's apply 2 coats. So I'll start by kind of doing a little bit light at first. Then I'll work my way around the sides. Starting to already get a nice beautiful color. And of course we'll get underneath. You want to cover every inch you can. And just like the primer, we're going to wait 5 to 10 minutes and then apply our second and final coat. So yep, I tried cleaning this alcohol to try to save it, but I'm just going to save myself some headache and make another one. Luckily the printer didn't take long to make me a second one, so I'll just do the same thing, prime it with 4 coats. Nothing special. And this was the day before paint, but I sealed it off so I can reuse it. And there's just enough in there to use this little guy right here. This little airbrush is cheap, simple, and it works really well, especially doing small parts. And the amount of paint we have left is a perfect amount. In fact, it's a more than enough. Let's see if I can get it in there. There we go. Had a little shake. So we got probably quite a bit, probably 15 milliliters in there, which is a lot. It's definitely going to be an excessive amount just for one fluid cap cover. So if you have one of these and you want to paint just with one of these little airbrushes, you could. It may take you a few minutes, but it'll save you on some paint. So we'll go over here, do a little test spray, and then we'll lay down our 2 coats. And I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to have a complete coverage on our part, both under it and above it. And then I'm going to wait 5 to 10 minutes and do our last and final coat. The only difference is it just takes a slightly longer just because, obviously our spray pattern is not as big. But it's still going to look just as good. And after an hour has passed, our paint should be dry. So I'll tell you what, let me start on the washer fluid cap. So we'll zoom in on that guy. Grab our white paint pen, shake it up. Take the cap off and test it. I've used this a couple times, so I want to make sure it still works. Oh yeah, looks like it's got plenty of paint. I think we could use this one. And I want to apply 3 coats at the very top of these cap covers. I want to give it a nice little offset. I think it's going to make it look really good. And I'm going to wait about 15 minutes in between coats just because the temperature is a little low in my garage. And it's very easy to work with this just because since it's a raised area, I don't really have to worry about kind of touching one of the other surfaces. So there's 1 coat right there. Do the same thing on the coolant. So for our first coat, that's looking pretty promising. Wait 15 minutes and do the same thing on the second coat. And then lastly, coat number 3. And after waiting 1 hour, looks like our paint should be dry, so we'll grab our tack cloth, and same thing as our, just give it a nice little quick wipe down just to make sure there's no dust on the part. Alright, so now for our last paint step, let's add our clear coat. Now I purchased a clear coat that requires a mix. However, if you want, you can use a spray can, which I highly recommend. You'll get great results. And we're going to use the same amount of clear coat as we did base coat. So I'm going to use 4 ounces of clear coat with 1 ounce of hardener, giving us 5 total. So with this clear coat, we're going to put 4 ounces in there. And this stuff's really good if you're doing a lot of small projects because you can mix a little bit and then store it and use it for the next evolution. And now I grab my stir stick and we'll stir for 2 minutes. Grab our funnel and we'll dump our clear coat right in our disposable paint cups. And then I'll grab my clear coat gun, give a little twist, and it's locked in. And going over our paint area, we're going to apply 2 coats. We'll start with a nice thin coat, getting all of our sides and under, of course. And we're going to do 5 to 10 minutes between coats. For me, it's probably going to be closer to 8 minutes. And we'll just make sure we get complete coverage on all 4 parts without dropping them this time. And there's 1 coat down, 1 more to go. Now this one's going to be more of a medium coat versus a light. You want to make sure you have a nice good coverage.
"24 hours later."
And after 24 hours have passed, our clear coat has cured, and look at this part. Man, this looks really good. The sunlight really makes this Kona blue pop. It really doesn't do it justice in the garage. You have to bring it outside. And looking at our second one, yep, definitely looks really good. Has a beautiful reflection. Definitely very, very promising. And something I do want to share with you guys. If you are interested in printing these or having a third party print them, I am definitely all for it. I have nothing against that whatsoever. You're more than welcome to. I'll leave the links in the description. However, I do want to ask for a gentleman's agreement. If you download these or give them to someone to print, just go ahead and subscribe to their channel. Doesn't cost you anything, and it pretty much tells me if you want to see more content like this and more files to be provided to you for free of cost. Anyway, let's move forward. So I'm going to take the same rubbing alcohol we had earlier, put on a microfiber cloth. I just want to get on the cloth for now. I don't want to get on anything else. And I'm going to clean these OEM caps and inside these cap covers. I want to clean the surfaces, make sure there's no oils on them, because we're going to glue these 2 surfaces together. Okay, it looks pretty good so far. Very nice. And then we'll grab our 2-part epoxy. This is Clear Weld, made by JB Weld. Really good stuff. And I'm going to start by putting the epoxy in a cup, and I'm going to put about, maybe like 5 milliliters. And that looks about right. And I'll do the same thing, add 5 milliliters of hardener. You just want 1-to-1 ratio. It doesn't matter how much, as long as it's 1-for-1. Take our stir stick, and we'll stir it for 1 minute. I believe this stuff sets in about 5 to 6 minutes, so you don't want to stir it too long. And I'll start my oil cap first. Get a nice amount of our mixing stick here. And we'll start putting it right in our cap cover. Now the good news about our cap cover on the inside, it's really coarse, which is great. Gives us something for the epoxy to adhere to. Then we'll throw our cap in there. And then we'll wipe around the edges just to make sure there's no excess epoxy on there. We don't want to make it look bad. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with our coolant cover as well. Just give it a nice little spread. Now these are almost press fitted in there. I really don't need the epoxy, but I'm doing it just because, you know, belt and suspenders. We want to make this as clean as possible and we don't want to worry about these popping off later. And just in case you haven't noticed, the washer fluid one, that one is just a replacement. That cap doesn't go inside that cover. Alright, so that looks good. Now let's install them. And speaker washer fluid, we'll start with this one first. And it's pretty simple. We'll pop that cap off, pull it right out, and we'll put our new one in there. Slide that right on and pop it right down. Very simple. Alright, so there's one. Let's go to the second one. And for your coolant, make sure it's cold, obviously, and we'll take this cap off and then install our new one. And in case you haven't noticed by now, I did order an additional set of caps just in case I fouled up. I can always go back to my OEM ones. And that snapped right in front and center. Beautiful. And since we're right there, let's go to our oil. Take our old one off. And then we'll throw our new one on. And perfect. Even has the perfect angle. And for our very last one, we have our brake fluid. Same thing. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Take this one out. Put it in storage. And let's grab our new one. We'll twist that one right on. And hopefully I glued it in the right spots where the brake caliper itself should be orientated correctly. And, yep, mimics our driver's side. That's beautiful. And let's do a once over. And look at that. Nice, beautiful shine. Definitely matches the car. Love the white offset. It looks beautiful. Yeah, that came out looking really nice. I do apologize for the dust you do see. We were only out here for like 5 minutes and I got dust covered all over the engine bay. Anywho, let's pan over to our brake fluid, take a look at it. Man, it came out looking really good. We have a little bit of glare, so bear with me, but overall, not too shabby. Well, if you found this video entertaining, please like, subscribe.